My girlfriend disappeared for 3 days. When she came back, she had no memory of me. I want to start by saying that I know how this story sounds. I know people will say I imagined everything, that I was dreaming, that I was suffering from some kind of breakdown. Maybe they're right, but there is one thing I cannot explain. I have photographs, I have messages, I have security camera footage, and I have a woman living in my house who looks exactly like my girlfriend, but she says she has never met me before. My name is Ryan, and 3 months ago, my girlfriend disappeared. Her name was Mia. We had been together for almost 4 years. We lived together in a small apartment on the edge of town. Nothing about our relationship was unusual. We argued about stupid things. We watched movies together. We ordered food too often. She stole my clothes. I stole the blankets. It was a normal relationship. At least, I thought it was. The night she disappeared started like any other night. Mia came home from work around 7:30. She seemed tired. I asked her if she wanted to order dinner. She said no. Then she asked me a strange question. Do you ever feel like you've lived the same day before? I laughed. What does that mean? She looked at me. I don't know. Then she said, forget it. That was the last normal conversation we ever had. At around 10:45 that night, Mia went to bed. I stayed in the living room watching television. At 1:17 in the morning, I heard the front door open. I immediately sat up. I thought Mia was leaving. I walked toward the hallway. Mia? No answer. I reached the front door. It was open. But Mia was gone. Her shoes were still inside. Her purse was still on the table. Her phone was still charging beside the bed. I ran outside. The street was completely empty. I called her name. Nothing. I checked the entire apartment building. I searched the parking lot. I called her parents. Nobody had seen her. I called the police. They asked me if we had argued. I said no. They asked me if she had any reason to leave. I said no. Then they asked me something that made me angry. Are you sure she actually disappeared? I thought they were joking. But they weren't. They told me adults leave all the time. Maybe she needed space. Maybe she didn't want to be found. But Mia had left everything behind. Her wallet, her phone, her keys, even her shoes. For 3 days I searched everywhere. I called hospitals. I checked train stations. I contacted her friends. I posted online. I barely slept. On the 3rd night, I received a message. It came from Mia's phone. The message contained only one sentence. Don't come looking for me. I stared at the screen for almost a minute. Then I called the number. It rang. Once. Twice. Then someone answered. I heard breathing. Mia? No answer. Mia, where are you? The breathing stopped. Then a man's voice said, She told you not to look for her. I froze. Who is this? The call ended. I immediately called the police. They traced the phone. The signal came from a location almost 30 kilometers away. An abandoned hotel. I drove there before the police arrived. I know that was stupid, but I didn't care. The hotel had been closed for years. The windows were broken. The entrance was covered in dust. I walked inside. The building smelled like mold and something else. Something metallic. I called Mia's name. Nothing. Then I heard a noise from upstairs. A door closing. I ran up the stairs. The hallway was completely dark. At the end of the hallway, I saw a light. I walked toward it. There was a room with the door slightly open. I pushed it. Inside was a chair, a table, and a camera. The camera was still recording. I looked at the screen, and I saw myself. The video showed me standing in the exact same room, but the date was 3 days earlier. I was sitting in the chair, and Mia was standing in front of me. She was crying. I watched the video. I heard myself say, "Tell me what happened." Mia said, "I don't remember." I said, "You do remember." She shook her head. "I don't know who you are." I stopped the video. My hands were shaking. That was impossible. I'd never been inside that hotel. I'd never seen that room. And Mia had never told me she didn't know me. I searched the room. Behind a broken cabinet, I found a small metal box. Inside was a photograph. It showed Mia standing beside me, but the photograph was dated 6 years ago, before we had met. I turned the photograph over. On the back, someone had written, "The first time failed." I ran out of the hotel. The police arrived shortly afterward. I showed them the camera, but the camera was gone. The room was empty. No table, no chair, no camera. Nothing. The officers searched the entire building. They found no evidence. Eventually, they told me I should go home. I did. I sat in my apartment until sunrise. Then, at 6:12 in the morning, someone knocked on my door. I knew who it was before I opened it. Mia. She was standing outside, wearing the same clothes she had disappeared in. I couldn't move. She looked at me and said, "Do I know you?" I thought she was joking. I laughed. "Mia, stop." She stepped backward. "I think you have the wrong apartment." I looked at her. "You live here." She stared at the apartment. Then she looked at me. "No, I don't." I showed her photographs, our vacations, our birthdays, our apartment, our dog, everything. She looked at every photograph. Then she said, "I don't remember any of this." I called her parents. They arrived within 20 minutes. The moment her mother saw her, she started crying. But Mia didn't recognize her mother either. She didn't recognize her father. She didn't recognize anyone. The doctors said she had severe memory loss. They couldn't explain why. She remembered basic things, her name, her age, her job, her childhood, but she had no memory of the last 4 years. Not one moment. Not me. Not our apartment. Not our relationship. Nothing. I tried to accept it. I told myself that maybe she had experienced some kind of trauma. Maybe her brain had blocked everything. But then something happened. A week after she returned,